I'm Rose from Art Studio and welcome to our beach paint along. So this is what we're going to be painting today, this lovely beach painting. So what you're going to need to make this painting is a canvas, or you can use some paper if you don't have canvas. We have an easel, but if you don't have an easel you can also paint flat on your table, and we've got some poster paints. So the colours that you're going to need for this painting are blue, white, yellow, brown and green. You're also going to need a jar of water for washing your brushes. You're going to need some paint brushes. So we like to use a bigger brush and a smaller brush for this painting. You're also going to need a palette or maybe a paper plate if you don't have an art palette, and a cloth or some kitchen towel for drying your brushes. So let's get started. So first we're going to put in our sky, and we're going to mix some white and blue together. So I'm going to take some white first, bring it over to the side and take some blue and mix that together. And this is going to make a nice light blue for our sky. So you can kind of mix it to whatever colour you want it to be, however light you want it to be. I'm going to go a little bit lighter. And a little bit lighter again. And I think I'm happy with that colour. So next we're going to make a line across here. So this part of the canvas is going to make up our sky at the top. So we're just making a line across here, and I'm also bringing this around to the sides of the canvas so that we cover the whole canvas. So I'm taking my light blue colour and we're going to paint in the sky. So to paint in the sky we're going to go back and forth with our brush to give the effect of the sky. So now we have all of the base colour painted into our sky. We're going to take a little bit of extra white. We're not going to wash our brush. We're just going to take a little bit of extra white on our brush, and we're going to blend that. So we're going to go back and forth through the sky until we get a nice blend on the sky. So with our brush also we can take a little bit of blue without washing it again. And we're going to blend that back and forth into the sky, and it kind of starts to become more of a real sky now. So just little bits at a time, not too much paint on your brush, and back and forth. And we can see now that it's starting to become more of a real sky with a couple of different shades in it. So now that we have our sky in, we're going to wash our brush off. And make sure we get all the paint off. And then we're just going to dry our brush with our cloth. You don't need to dry it too well, a little bit damp is okay. So now we're going to put in our sea. So for our sea we're going to make up a kind of a turquoise colour. So we're going to go with some blue on the side and some green on the side and mix them together. So we're getting a kind of a nice turquoise colour there, and I think I'm happy with that colour. So for our C part of the canvas, this is going to take up a bigger kind of chunk of the canvas, and we're going to make a wavy line down here, and this wavy line is going to be your C coming in on the shore. And we're going to do the exact same as what we did with the sky. We're going to paint it back and forth. We want a solid line here between the sea and the sky. So we're going to paint in that solid line here. And don't forget the edges of your canvas. And then we're going to work our way all the way down to this wavy line with that colour that we made up. Back and forth again, and back and forth. So now that we've got all our sea painted in, you can see that it's a couple of different shades, and that's because I needed to mix up more colour. So don't worry if you're mixing more colour and it doesn't come out the exact same, because it gives it more of a real effect. So now we're going to add in a little bit of darker blue into our sea. So again, we're not going to wash our brush, and we're just going to take some blue on our brush and we're going to blend it in, just very small amounts on our brush, and we're going to blend it in to the sea. So this will give the sea some kind of darker areas. So I'm not using too much paint, and I'm just adding little bits into different areas of the sea. And after this, we're going to add in some white. So we again don't need to wash our brush. We're just taking a little bit of white on our brush, and we're going to blend in little bits of white into that sea, into making lighter areas into our sea. So very small amounts is the trick to this. So I have a little bit too much got on there now, so I'm just taking some off my brush, and I'm going to take this and bring it into other areas to spread it out. And that looks good to me. So now we're going to add in the sand on the beach, and we're going to wash off our brush. I've already washed off mine, and I'm going to just dry it a little bit. Again, you don't need to dry it too much. And we're going to mix up some colour for the sand. So our sand is going to be some yellow, and we're going to take that yellow on the side, and we're going to mix in a very small amount of brown with it. So you don't want too much brown. So this is how much brown I have on my brush. Just a very small amount. And you mix it together, and we'll get that kind of sandy colour. And if you want to lighten it up, you can also mix in some white. So there's my colour for my sand. I think I might add a little bit more white in there. And I think I'm happy with that colour. So we're going to add this all along the bottom. And again, we're still going back and forth with our brush. And this time we're being careful to just meet that wavy line where the sea is coming in. And again, cover the sides of your canvas. We need to make sure that this wavy line of our sea coming into our sand is dry before we add any more onto it. So I'm going to use a hairdryer to dry mine. You can use a hairdryer too, or you can let it air dry and come back to it later on. So now that the canvas is dry, I'm going to take my smaller brush and I'm going to dry it off just a little again. And I'm going to take some white. So we're going to make some foam coming in from the sea into the sand. So I'm taking some white on my brush, again, not too much. And I'm just going to dab, dab, dab all along the seashore. So it gives it the foamy kind of look. So now we've got our foam all in on our seashore here. I'm going to add a little shell on the beach. You can add anything you want really on the beach at this point. So I'm going to make the shell colour similar to how we made the sand colour. So I'm going to use some yellow and more brown this time. So we want to make it a little bit darker this time. And I'm going to add some white in there to give it a creamy kind of shell look. So that's brown, yellow and white, and it's a little bit more brown this time than we did with the sand. And I'm just going to add a little seashell here. So I'm making a circular shape, and then on the end we're going to make a little fan to look like a seashell. And then we're just painting all that in. And now I'm going to add a little bit more brown. So I'm going to take a little bit more dark brown on my brush, and I'm just going to give the shell some lines. So now it looks more like a real seashell. And that's it for the beach painting. So you could add anything else that you wanted along here, more shells or some jellyfish, whatever you like yourself.